Hey, what up guys, it's Yeti here. Welcome back to another video. This time it's a little bit different. You can see me wearing the good old Yeti merch. This is totally not an ad. Today's video, I wanted to talk about aim. And more importantly, what is aim? A lot of people are constantly training their aim. They're doing these aim trainers, going through hundreds of hours of exercise to get better aim. But I think we have to take a step back and actually ask the question, like, what is aim in an FPS? Like, what does it even mean to aim? And to me, aim is the ability to, click heads, to kill people, to shoot your gun exactly where you want it to. And secondly, how do we improve our aim, right? And there are so many things that we have to talk about today. So first of all, we're going to be talking about the mouse, right? Everyone has a mouse. You need to have, there's different sizes, different weights, different grips, different sensors. I'm not going to be focusing this video on mice specifically because there are amazing YouTubers out there. There's a guy called Rocket Jump Ninja. He has covered every single mouse in existence of humans. And that's the first thing. Pick a comfortable mouse for you, right? The second thing is a mouse pad. You want to have a good mouse pad, a big one. This is like a 90 by 40 centimeter XXL mouse pad that I have here. Thickness doesn't really matter to me. All that matters is I have enough space to do big movements. And then lastly, sensitivity. A lot of people tend to ride this sensitivity hype and they think that mouse sensitivity is like the most important thing in existence. Like, oh, I need to change my sense to be like perfect. Oh, let's go lower, let's go higher. I'm going to tell you something that is actually going to hit you hard right now. And is most pro players in FPS games, if I would take their sensitivity and reduce it by half or double it or whatever, they would adjust almost instantly and perform just as good. Because when you're somebody who's a good aimer, you don't really rely on your gear, on your sensitivity modifier, things like that. It's just your body fully came to understand that, like, how much of your hand, wrist, and fingers to use for movement, right? Whenever we're aiming, like you can look at my hand right now, you're using a combination of all of those, right? Depending on your sensitivity, like the values are gonna change. I guess that's like a way to say it. Like if you're a really high sense player, you're playing more with your wrist and your fingers than you are with your hand. If you're like a really low sense player, you are using your hand a lot more. Like I personally am okay with using any sensitivity. And people on my stream have seen me before swap my sense mid-game and perform well with it. And that is just because, like, you don't need one value to perform well. Your body will truly understand the idea of how it all works. Another thing I want to talk about is Deathmatch. And then we'll talk about aim trainers. I know a lot of you guys probably came for the aim trainer topic. Deathmatch is good. I would highly recommend to Deathmatch as much as you can, because on Deathmatch, you're using your aim and your movement at once. And that way, you're, like, building your full knowledge of the game at once, and that's really, really good for you. You can also learn how to counter strafe, how to spray, how to crouch, when to crouch. You know, you probably saw my video about crouching. It's just in general gonna improve like your everything together, right? If you're only doing aim trainers, your aim is getting better. Like your, not your aim, but like the ability to flick, track, and things like that is getting better. But if your movement is dog, you're not gonna get those kills. If your peeking is awful, like you're gonna wide peek, like, oh, like, no, this, like, if you're gonna wide peek and have godlike aim, you're still gonna die. So that's why I actually think deathmatching is better than aim trainers. But I also think that aim trainers shouldn't be ignored because you want that sense of using your fingers, wrist, and hand together as fast as possible. Many players rely only on one or two of those, and they are missing on a whole nother aspect of controlling their mouse. That's also why I prefer lighter mice, because I think for me personally, I have a much easier time using my fingers with lighter mice. Some people are just ogres and brutes, and they can use a 1 kilogram mouse and still flick perfectly. And that's just how they were born. I was born differently, right? So I prefer lighter mice. Again, for aim trainers, I would recommend both AimLab and Kovacs. AimLab is free. Kovacs costs money. The difference between them is that Kovacs gives you like exact ways to improve your aim. It gives you exact, like, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. While Aim Lab is like, you go in there, there's community-made maps, community-made exercises, and you just do them and you follow them, and you know, you in general get better. I personally wouldn't pay for Kovacs if I were you, but at the end of the day, it fully depends on your, you know, mentality. So there are a few things I want to talk about, and you know, again, I'm going to be showing you all with this camera. So another part of aiming that is super underrated is crosshair placement. Crosshair placement is actually probably the most important part about aiming, and it's funny because for crosshair placement, you don't need to do aim lab at all. Crosshair placement is placing your crosshair where the enemy could be. There's multiple ways of crosshair placement, right? One of them is when you're defending and you're waiting for a run out right there. This is the crosshair placement, right? Again, somebody who feels he's either a noob or a pro, right, could have his crosshair like that. The problem here is that you give yourself very little time to react when somebody is crossing, right? I personally go for a little bit of space because I know I'm not the fastest. My reaction speed is around 200 milliseconds. I'm trying to work on it, but I'm still a very, very slow gamer, especially for my rank. And then some pro players happen to be really fast, so they keep their crosshair, you know, closer. And noobs in general forget about reaction time, so they put their crosshair as close as possible. Another thing, obviously, head level. How to practice head level crosshair placement. Boop. Or actually, even better, you shoot like that. Hey, there we go. That was my head, you know, because, like, you shoot out of your face in this game, so. That's head level now. And head level doesn't change. The further you go or the closer you go, head level doesn't change because of the way, what is that called? Perception works? I don't know if I'm using the correct word there. Sorry, English is not my first language. But yeah, that's like really important, is to know head level and to know reaction time. And now that was, you know, holding angle crosshair placement. Now for peeking angle, there are multiple ways of peeking. One of them is when you are, you know, like kind of dragging your crosshair near the border. I don't like this kind of crosshair placement. This is pretty, this screams noob to me. I'm gonna be honest. Like, keeping your crosshair like at the end of the corner like that at all times, and like, kind of like going around. Ugh, I don't like that. That's very noobish to me because you still have to flick. The odds of someone being exactly where you're aiming is very low. The way many pro players do it is, let's say there's a guy there, right? He's gonna go like this. My counter strafing is awful. I have to go deathmatch. Aim lab won't help here. Anyways, right? So you keep your crosshair on the actual, like, on the actual spot, right? So you go out and you like, you don't like drag it around an angle. You instead prepare for the angle. And you shoot out instantly. Sorry about the awful counter strafing, by the way. I don't know what happened there, okay? Gonna be completely honest. I've been talking for too much and doing too little shooting. I want to give you more examples for this, because this is something that like a lot of Counter-Strike players are really good at. Like, I remember watching Nico play and I was like, this guy is absolutely crazy, because he had some of the best crosshair placement I've seen. Like, for example, for, up here, like a good way to, you can also ping it in this game, which is kind of OP. Go like that, you know, and like that's gonna give you such good, like, that's gonna decrease your reaction time by a lot. Like, this is how you get those sick one tabs that you see in YouTube montages. Is really, you're gonna have to practice crosshair placement a lot. Like, sadly, I'm not like some god that can grant you a wish and make your crosshair placement good instantly, but you're just gonna have to practice it, you know? Like, where could they be? Like, preset the crosshair and then peek out. Instead of, like, you know, hugging the angle, I think is how we could call this. Hugging the angle. Very, very bad for your reaction time. Obviously, sometimes you're gonna have to hug the angle when you don't know where they are, for example. Depending on the situation, like, you know how to play this game, guys. You're gonna know when to hug the angle. But I'm trying to show you that there are other better methods for peeking angles with crosshair placement in general. But yeah, please don't look at the ground. A lot of people do this when they look like that, when they walk around. Really, really bad. And learn how to peek those angles like that, you know, like... Pinging in this game is super OP, by the way. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Like, it's literally like the most OP thing ever. You can ping and crosshair placement properly. It's gonna know your team in competitive, but Damn, it is absolutely sick, like how much you can learn from that. Anyways, guys, that is going to be it for this video. I hope you learned something new. I'm gonna have more guides coming your way soon. And yeah, good luck with your FPS skills. I know you guys can make it. Get that diamond, get that immortal, get that radiant. And I'll see you guys soon. Have a good rest of your day. Later. Peace out, boys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Never seeing me again when I cash out. You don't wanna be around when I crash and burn. I can't go back.